Alrighty, welcome back, folks. Several traits to talk about today. If you tuned into the last episode, Wednesday's the intention is for me to go over any traits that I may take or may have taken during the first few days of the week or first half of the week. Give a walkthrough of those trades and share my watch list for the remaining of the week or going into next week. And it was a busy one, busy week to start the first full trading week of January. There's several stocks that are moving, so good action in the markets right now. If you tuned into the last episode, you'll see that my main watches at the time were ONDS as well as BNAI. So I'll start off with BNAI. I didn't take a trade on this one, so the plan was here to trade it on the breakout of this $4 area. Pre-market listing ended up spiking pretty large, and then it was just kind of funky throughout the day. I'm still going to keep it on watch to see if this shapes up for a future breakout within the next for the rest of the week or even going into next week, but at the moment I just have that as a back burner. ONDS, so we were watching it back here on Sunday, prepping for the week. So this stock was showing a lot of strength and building into a breakout, technical breakouts, and all-time highs here in the 1170s. It is a larger company, so I was expecting a slower type of move. And that's exactly what I did in my trade for this stock. So I started building a position. As you can see here on Monday, it gapped up a little bit over the weekend. And I started building my position here in the mid-11s. I had a full-size position, which I intended to swing, so I didn't add too much size. I got 200 shares of this stock overnight with 1165 average, and ended up gapping up slightly. I think I got a little bit impatient with this one just because it's a slower mover, not my favorite type of stock to trade. So I ended up fully selling most of my position. All of my position by the mid to higher, mid 12s here with the 1256. I'm looking at my spreadsheets. So 1256 average was my exit. So again, it was a smaller position, again, relative to the size that I normally trade, but I did want to participate because this was setting up nicely for that breakout. This might continue going, and it very likely is going to continue going, but this is more of a swing style type of trade because it's again a larger company and it's a slower mover. So for someone who has a patience and the type of trading style is to hold these things for several days at a time, and this is definitely for you. For me, a day or two is as long as I normally want to go. So again, I sold all my position there for a decent profit. So we got 200 shares from 1165 and sold it at 1256 fully. I also took a trade on Monday on Lunar. Very, very similar strategy that I was playing as ONDS. So Lunar is an aerospace stock. Aerospace, space stocks at the moment are pretty hot. I mentioned that in the last video as well. So right now, this is definitely a sector to have in mind. This is one of the larger companies in the bunch. So I was also expecting a slower move. I had this one from the 1820s, 1829 to be exact. So I started buying this on Monday with the idea of selling it into a gap up or just into a spike of price the following day. As you can see, didn't have much action. I got also pretty impatient with this one because it has rather choppy action and price action. So I ended up selling this for a baby profit. I sold it mostly in the mid 18s. 1855 was my average. So in these spikes I was selling, I was fully out of that position. As you can see today, I ended up going to the 19s, but I didn't really want to hold through all of that. It's just I also had 200 shares of this one that I took here. So again, it was a small share size position, as well as a profit, but nevertheless it was a green trade. Too slow for my blood. So SIDU I'm still going to keep on watch, as this thing is still showing strength and it very likely is going to continue running. So we just want to keep it on watch, also because this is connected to other stocks and this is a good indicator for how the sector is doing. Now the juicy trades came from SIDU yesterday. So this is another space company in aerospace and defense. It's kind of connected to Lunar, the price actually, as Lunar was kind of leading in this space. So whenever that means that as a price on a stock goes up, that's leading a sector, whereas one of the leads in the sectors, others tend to follow, normally smaller price stocks. So SIDU and Lunar were kind of moving in a little bit of sync. But SIDU, because it's a smaller company, more volatile price, is the one that I sized up larger because I could get a better return for my investment in the trade. So this one I actually started watching it right out the open because of the way that it held over this $4 area. I initially got chopped up a little bit in these wicks right here in the morning, but as soon as it held, once I saw that it was holding again over the fours, I started sizing up, and I had a full position in 1,500 shares in the 420 area. So pretty good average now that I really look at it and examine this trade. And my plan was to sell this as close to the fives as possible, and even maybe into the fives. So I was waiting to see what price action was looking like. I started selling into spikes here in the morning and throughout the day. So I ended up fully getting out of my position with an average in the 470s. So I was selling all throughout here, and I was patient enough to let this one go to the end of the day with a small amount of shares. So I was able to sell in the fives, and I even swung a tiny bit of the position. But I ended up selling in the 490s in pre-market this morning. As soon as I woke up, I checked my phone. I was like, all right, let me just get out because this thing might flop. And as you can see, it pretty much did flop. So it's actually a good short today. But this was about almost 14% on the position that I had. So pretty solid trade. Right here, the strategy was more so a bit of a breakout continuation kind of play. And it kind of worked to the T once it held that $4 area. So again, I was looking at this one right at market open, and I was able to get the size that I wanted relative to the risk that I had in mind. So SIDU, great trade. I'm still keeping it in watch because, again, it's in the space sector and it's still holding up. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just kind of blew the lid later in the week or even going into next week. And shit, let's see. Let's look at the daily chart. This is in the fives. Yeah, this could go to $6-7 easily if it continues to run and continues to squeeze folks who get too stubborn and exiting their positions. So SIDU, great trade yesterday. And now today, the star of the show, MNTS Momentous. To be honest, I didn't even see exactly what this company was. Oh my God. Aerospace again. Yeah, I kind of blanked out on that. So another aerospace stock that I had on watch, or I picked up throughout the week. So the plan on this one was also to play the breakout above the high 11. So it was around 1170 was the breakout. Pre-market, it went all the way up to 13. So I was looking at this again right at market open. Actually started building a position right at as soon as the market opened. It kind of flopped, kind of stopped me out, and as soon as it recovered in the low 11s, I started building my position. So I was able to manage 500 shares with an average of 1194. So I was just scooping up shares in these candles, and the plan for this one was for it to retest those pre-market highs in the 13s, and because of what the daily chart is looking like, I wanted to give this some time and some space for it to touch into the 14s. As you can see, that is exactly what this stock did, but I didn't hold a very large position into those areas, so I sold most of my position into the mid to high 13s and into the low 14s. So all through here I was selling my position, and even here in the 14s. So for this one, I had an average of 1363 for my exits for a 14% trade on it. So very similar percentage to my trade on SIDU. As you can see, these aerospace stocks are what are providing the opportunities for me at the moment. So I definitely want to continue having these on watch and continue to play them if the opportunities are presented. So far right now in the week, it's been pretty solid. I'm close to 2K in profits, and I would definitely want to keep the momentum. I don't want to get overly aggressive or overly confident because these can crap out at any moment. So I want to be careful with my swing trades as well as my day trades. So the plan is to continue watching all of these stocks. SMX is one that I missed today. I had been watching this one for the past week as it was kind of settling in the lows, and this thing is coming all the way down from almost $200. And today this thing had a freaking 100% run from the 18s, 19s, and it was just going. It was just spiking. If I would have gotten involved, it would have been around the same time that I was trading MNTS. So I didn't want to shift my focus from two stocks, especially if considering that they were both pretty volatile. But I absolutely had to sit on my hands for this because on this little spike in the morning, I thought it had already kind of left, or at least got away from me for the position that I was looking at. Came back to the 19s. I hesitated, didn't take it, went back up to 25, came back down. I was watching it again. I didn't take it, and it kept going and going and going. But I stayed disciplined because I didn't want to get caught with me chasing this stock and then just taking a dump, because it has happened to me 100 too many times. So yeah, sadly I had to watch this one run. Literally went over 100%. But that's trading. You're not gonna catch all of them. I feel good with the trades that I've taken so far. So this is just a reminder that the market right now is pretty hot. There's plays out there. So my job is to stay in tune and show up every day and take advantage again of the opportunities when they are presented, which at the moment there have been plenty. So again, the plan for the rest of the week is continue watching those same stocks that I've traded. Not a lot of other like top watches that I have in mind. These are kind of on the back burner, so we'll see what happens. At the end of the week on Sunday, I'll post another video to see how Thursday and Friday went, and then to see what we're going to be watching for next week. But again, so far, it's been a good week, and let's see how the market continues developing. That is it for today. Again, this is very specific what I'm sharing. It's more so of a journal. So for those of you that are familiar with trading already, with small caps specifically as well, it's going to be more relevant for those who are just tuning in to kind of learn some new things or see what I'm putting out there. Feel free to ask questions again. I'll try to cater some of these to those questions. But that's it for today, folks. I'll catch you all on the next one.